HelloFresh takes the guesswork and the extra hassle out of planning and preparing delicious meals for dinner. America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh gives you over 40 recipes to choose from each week. And then your farm-fresh, pre-portioned seasonal ingredients arrive at your doorstep with simple instructions to help you feel like the master chef of your kitchen. And did you know that HelloFresh is cheaper than grocery shopping and 25% less expensive than takeout? HelloFresh has been an awesome addition to our household's dinner routine. We all get involved and cook together, following the pictured step-by-step instructions. It's a fun quality time, and the meals are delicious. Give it a try and see for yourself. Go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall for 50% off plus free shipping. Again, to get 50% off plus free shipping, go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. It's a thing. And now the truth is out there. I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free anytime, anywhere. And each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Welcome to the Having It All podcast, the show about what it takes to live an abundant, loving life. My name is Matthew Bivens, and each week I'm helping you get out of your head so that you can truly have it all. Let's do it. What is up, everyone? Today, I'm excited to bring you part 2 of my conversation with Chris Perez. In part 1, Chris and I just jumped into everything about tapping into your greatness and really seizing and experiencing your true potential. And in this part of our conversation, we kick things off by talking about fears. Yeah, we get into fears, into judgments, into all that stuff that really slows down the wheels and kind of mucks us up and prevents us from building that momentum and truly tapping into those beautiful, powerful, healing, transformative aspects of ourselves. And so Chris has some personal experience with fears, and he really drops some amazing gems in that portion of our conversation. And we also get into talking about just how you can build momentum and the power of making small decisions, you know, those little choices that you have to make throughout your day, and how you can build momentum in that ways. And we wrap things up by talking about leadership, which truly and honestly is where Chris shines. He is a student of leadership. Like, he literally went to school to study leadership. He also has been in the Army, where, you know, leadership was really instilled in him in some very intentional and direct ways. And so Chris is a phenomenal resource to learn leadership through. I highly recommend that you connect with Chris online on social media. I have truly enjoyed following him on Instagram and watching his videos. He has these really great, just, I wouldn't even call them motivational videos. They're just like raw, honest videos, you know, and it's a very refreshing perspective and very refreshing message that Chris shares on his Instagram. And you can follow him. He is at The Life Addict. And that's, again, I recommend checking him out on Instagram. He's also on Facebook and some of those other social stomping grounds. And I'm going to put a link to the first part of our conversation in the show notes for this episode. And I've been talking too much, so let's jump right into the conversation. It's going to pick up right in the middle of my conversation with Chris, so let's do it. You mentioned that when you go through your self-discovery process and you really start to assess where those things are coming from, it can be uncomfortable and it can be scary. And so, absolutely, you know, it's great to talk about these things in these, you know, and just talk about these concepts and say, yeah, it's better to live without fear. And boy, your life would be so much more amazing if you could drop the judgment, right? That's one thing. But then actually getting into the practice of that stuff and actually getting down to, like, you know, okay, so what is all that? How do you do that? How do you actually navigate those things? Well, I'm curious for you, is in your life experience, the times when you've mustered up the courage to take that inward look, what helped you find either peace in the discomfort, or what helped you be okay with feeling uncomfortable and being okay with being scared out of your mind? What was it that got you to continue to move forward with the process as opposed to shutting down in that moment when everything in your body is telling you, no, go the other direction. Don't do this because this makes us feel weird. This makes us feel anxious. But you're like, you know what? No,
Right.
I'm going to continue. For you, why have you continued?
So, and thank you so much for that question. That takes me to a great place that I love reflecting on and bringing to light at any chance I get. But it started last year. I had to leave my family for about 8.5 months for a deployment with the military, and it started off pretty rough. Now, it wasn't not along the lines of, we weren't in a combat zone or anything of that nature. We were in El Salvador, but in my personal life, it started off pretty rough. Something happened that really caused me to go inward, Matt, in a way that I can't even explain, because it was about 2 weeks into an 8-month trip down there. And I'm thinking, by golly, I have 8 more months to go. So I went in deep. And as these fears and these judgments and this resentment on the decisions that I've made up to that point started festering within, I started discovering the beauty, and I know you are a big fan of this, of living in the present, living in the now, and understanding that in this moment, right now, I have to be the best that I could possibly be. That's not to say that I'm going to not have these fears, because I accept the fears when they come. They're real, but if you understand what they really are, that's the most important thing. When you understand that fear is an illusion, it's your mind trying to keep you safe and secure. That's the mind's job. But it's those fears that do hold us back. And it's so cliche, like we've all heard, that the fears hold you back. But it's when you understand in that moment, like Viktor Frankl says in The Man's Search for Meaning, between stimulation and reaction is growth and freedom. And if you could stay in that moment and understand that this is what I need to accomplish right now, this is my meaning, and worrying about what happened or being anxious about what could happen, instead, I'm able to view things, take action, make a decision, and progress forward. And most important, what's kept me completely surrendering, embracing, and trusting in the process is enjoying it. You have to enjoy it. That's the number one thing. And that's what life is. Life is a beautiful journey from beginning to end. But sometimes we get off track and we stop enjoying the process of the journey of becoming who you're supposed to become.
HelloFresh takes the guesswork and the extra hassle out of planning and preparing delicious meals for dinner. America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh gives you over 40 recipes to choose from each week. And then your farm-fresh, pre-portioned seasonal ingredients arrive at your doorstep with simple instructions to help you feel like the master chef of your kitchen. And did you know that HelloFresh is cheaper than grocery shopping and 25% less expensive than takeout? HelloFresh has been an awesome addition to our household's dinner routine. We all get involved and cook together, following the pictured step-by-step instructions. It's a fun quality time, and the meals are delicious. Give it a try and see for yourself. Go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall for 50% off plus free shipping. Again, to get 50% off plus free shipping, go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. It's a thing. And now the truth is out there. I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free anytime, anywhere. And each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
But the beauty of it is it's never too late to get back on that path. And it doesn't have to be a path of, whatever makes you happy, whatever brings you joy and fulfillment. Just do that. Do that. If that means having, conversations and finding ways to inspire and motivate others or anything, whatever it is, do that. Do it to the best of your ability. But most important, accept everything as it comes and handle it as best as you could. And don't second guess yourself, because when you start choosing yourself, that's where on the other side of that is where all our greatness resides, I believe, man.
That's powerful, man.
Thank you.
So what I heard you say is that, what keeps you in that feeling, that uncomfortable state, what keeps you moving through that when you're presented with the fear is, the understanding that there's something powerful and beautiful and great on the other end of that fear, on the opposite side of that fear, and that the fear itself is simply your mind doing what it's supposed to do. It's
absolutely,
it's creating that experience for you, and also, for you look to be with the experience, understanding that the experience that you're having is that's what's happening here in the present, and you're able to recognize that, when you're feeling regretful, that's you living in the past, and when you're feeling anxious, that's you living in the future. And so you're able to recognize what it feels like to be in the present moment, and understanding that the present moment is really where it's at. And then I also heard you say that truly, I'm sort of extrapolating here a little bit, but going through your process and doing that deep dive and that self-awareness, for you, there's some juice in that for you, because that in and of itself, the process and that journey, that lights you up. And so for you get some fulfillment out of that process itself.
100%. And just to add to the suffering piece and the understanding of that, on the other side of fear is everything that we're looking for. And that really is something that I truly believe to the deepest core of my soul. Because if you think about it, with fitness, right? We'll look at fitness as a quick example. When we're in the gym, when we're running, when we're swimming, we're literally tearing our bodies apart. We're literally putting our bodies through pain and suffering. But that feeling that you get once you complete that workout, once you finish your swim, once you finish your run, that's something that is, you just can't explain how good you feel.
We call it a high.
Whenever yeah, let's call it a high.
Yeah, like that's
absolutely.
Yeah, like they call it the runner's high or whatever. Like literally, it's like being high.
Absolutely, all the neurochemicals have been released.
Yeah.
You have pushed through that resistance. That resistance reared its face. You didn't want to put your shoes on. You didn't want to step outside into the cold. You didn't want to get out there and do exactly what you know is good for you, but you did it anyways. And that's where that self-discipline comes in. And when you do it, not only does it feel amazing, but you start creating that momentum. And then that momentum carries into all areas of your life. So that's when I refer to embrace the suffering, persist through the resistance. That's what I'm referring to. It's not these macro, ginormous decisions. It's the little decisions that really shape our lives. Making the decision to do the thing that even though you don't want to do it, you do it anyways.
Yeah.
It's that simple. What do you think?
you dropped a lot in that statement that I absolutely love. I'm a huge fan and a big believer in what you said, where everything you want to experience in life is on the other side of your fear. And that, to me, that idea has been the most terrifying thing in my life. Just embracing that idea, because it means that, oh my gosh, if I really want to experience the level of peace that I say I want to, the level of abundance that I say I want to, it means that there are uncomfortable situations that I'm going to need to step into. And so I speak to that as somebody who made it a point, who made it like my personal mission. I remember 4.5 years ago, making a decision that I was going to step into whatever the circumstances were that were making me feel uncomfortable, because I believed so fully that all of the great things I wanted to experience was on the other side of that discomfort. And that's a huge reason why I started this podcast, because early on, the idea of interviewing people, I was presented with that idea. People were telling me, hey, you should do an interview podcast. And it scared me. It scared the crap out of me.
Look at you now.
Yeah, so I said, I'm going to do it, because I was in a season of saying, I'm going to move through whatever fear that comes up for me. And so I love that you said that and put that out there, because it's like the thesis of this entire podcast. And it's the truth. And I experience it all the time. And then I also want to touch on what you said as well with, it's the small decisions.
Absolutely.
It's those small decisions that matter, because how many times in life are we going to be presented with a truly great crossroad? A friend of mine in the small group I went to yesterday, she shared how she recently broke up with her boyfriend of 13 years. They have a blended family. They raised 3 kids together. They've been together for 13 years. How many times do you think in your life you're going to be at that sort of monumental decision crossroad?
Right.
Not too many. But throughout the day, like you said, there are so many small decisions that we make. And as we become more aware of those small decisions, as we become more aware of what decisions we're making on autopilot for our safety and for our comfort, then you're like, whoa, wait a minute. I have an opportunity right now. I can choose this small area right here, and I can give myself a little rep in practicing what it's like to be uncomfortable in a small way. Maybe it's right. Going and saying thank you to the garbage man. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it's just a small decision like that, like something that you'd initially be like, that kind of feels weird, but you do it anyway. And then those small things, they add up, man, and they build that momentum, like you said. And then soon it's like that little pebble that starts rolling down the snowy hill, and it starts building and getting bigger and bigger, and you can't stop it.
Right. It's like you literally are vibrating at a higher frequency. Yeah. And things that you want in your life start naturally gravitating to you because you're so intentional and deliberate. And I love how it's kind of coming full circle with us about the question you asked earlier about what motivates me to continue on the process, and me talking about the present moment. I think that if you're present, you're going to view and you're going to realize and be and identify with those small decisions that matter. And I'm talking so small, like when I come home and every day I hang my clothes up, I make sure that it's done the right way. Such a small decision that seems so insignificant, but it's like you said, it's those being intentional with those little micro choices is what shapes our reality.
It does. Because there's so
100%.
Yeah, there's so many of them, and it's funny.
Oh, constant.
Yeah, and like you see that concept in other areas. We talk about even the longest journey starts with a single step, right? And
beautiful.
This idea that if you want to go from point A to point B, like there's a lot of little steps to get there, and so it's not about making that big leap, but it's about those small incremental, that incremental progress. And so that concept is alive in a lot of other areas. And in architecture, you're building a huge building brick by brick. Well, you can't just slap the whole thing up at once. You really have to go piece by piece. And so we bring that back, and it's the small decisions that we make in our lives throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month that really build into who we become. And
Absolutely.
So what's really cool is you mentioned the word counterbalance a while ago. And, I talk about balance on the show, and I talk about it a lot with my wife, and just this idea of what it means to be balanced in life, and work-life balance is a thing that's in some circles, it's like a taboo topic, but the idea, when we bring it and we break it back down to these small incremental choices and small opportunities, what's so cool about that is you really truly have an opportunity to constantly be counterbalancing and bringing yourself back to being on path, whatever on path means to you. And because we have so many small opportunities, it's like throughout the day, you constantly have a choice to align or to, if you're drifting off to the side, boom, you have a choice to, the opportunity to align. If you're going a little bit to the left, boom, you have another opportunity to align. And it's just, we're just presented with it all the time. And to me, that's a very cool thing. It's a very cool thing.
Absolutely. And number one, too, I two things that I absolutely love what you just mentioned. One is everyone's path is different. Don't try to mirror anyone else's path. Obviously learn from their experiences and learn from what they've done in their lives, but don't ever try to follow that path, because everyone's got their unique genius. Everyone's got their unique path. And the second one that I loved is when you kind of deviate, because we're all going to deviate. I deviate constantly, but it's being not only self-aware that you're doing it, but not judging yourself when it happens. When you make a mistake, accept it, understand that it happened, and move on. And I think that's kind of a lot of people experience a lot of turmoil and suffering, and unnecessary suffering, we'll say, because both you and I agree that, suffering in a good way is good, but it's that unnecessary suffering of what you did or what someone did to you. Like, that's in the past. That's done. There's no reason to worry about that anymore. So it's not having judgment towards yourself that really helps in create the balance that you just mentioned.
We get our weekly groceries delivered through Instacart because once football season starts, game time is family time. I can get everything my family needs for the week, from reliable staples to specialty ingredients, all delivered right to my door in as fast as 1 hour. So I can stay on my game without missing a minute of the game. Visit Instacart.com or download the app to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. Offer valid for a limited time. Minimum order $10. Additional terms apply. Instacart. Add life to cart.
Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
And boy, that's a whole other topic to get into, because man, it's that's a big part of my personal journey, is learning to become my biggest advocate as opposed to my biggest critic. And
right.
And shifting the judgment, because it's just, it's energy, right? So it's everything is energy, and all that judgment is me taking energy and putting it in a certain direction, pointing it in a certain direction. So how can we then
absolutely
point that energy in a different direction? And that's, that too is its own process and all of that, and something that I'm continuing to learn, continuing to be humbled by, and continuing to being open to new understanding around judgment and self-love and acceptance and all of that beautiful stuff.
Absolutely. And I think the most important thing, because the process is going to take people in so many different directions, of whether it be following a dream or writing a book or starting a business or starting a new workout routine. But it's the decision to embark on the process. That's all that matters.
Yes.
That's all that matters. Absolutely nothing else matters other than the decision to embark on it. And stick to it, though. You got to be disciplined. You got to be disciplined and stick to it. But it's that first initial decision, like you just said, it's so amazing how you're able to be vulnerable like that and say, I'm embarked on this mission, this process, but I still struggle. But it's the fact that you're doing it, or anyone for that matter is doing it. That's what matters. That's all that matters.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're human, so the struggle and the ego and all of that, like that's real. And
right.
I think it's part of the beauty of all of it, learning how to navigate and experience all of it and just embrace all of it.
Right.
It's so easy to want to just like surgery, just cut out a certain part of you or cut out a certain emotion and just discard it. But I think there's really a great opportunity to embrace it in its totality and to learn to love it in your own way. And that's a fun prospect for me. Going on that journey, that sounds like a lot of fun. And that's something I'm signing up for.
Hey, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. And I think we got to sign up every single day, though. That's the ticket.
Yeah.
Wake up and sign up. Wake up and sign up, because it's going to be, 100%. 100%. We could, Matt, think about it. We could make a choice to lay in bed all day and not try to live a life of fulfillment and enjoyment and contribution and connection and growth. We really could do that, but it's waking up every day and making that choice to move forward, one step at a time, like you said earlier, like the architect lays one brick at a time. That's what's important. It's not going to be easy. I know it's not easy for me. That like I will 100% admit that. I know it's not easy for me, but I still do it because I know it's the right thing to do. That's really where it's at for me. It's just the right thing to do.
Yeah, there's something bigger in it for you. I get it.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to tie everything back to kind of like the disorder things, entropy, like everything gravitates to disorder, but it's like what you said, it's being able to navigate and find that beauty and that fulfillment and that understanding in every situation that we're faced with, and how to get on the other side of that barrier, how to overcome that obstacle. That's really where it's at, because it's inevitable. The resistance is going to show up regardless of what you're pursuing in life. But it's cultivating the ability to overcome the resistance that really separates mediocrity from greatness.
Yeah, and I think there's also opportunity to be with those things that come up as well, you know, and to, because I like to a concept that I'm becoming more comfortable with is this idea of the mirrors and how people and circumstances are showing up in our lives, and they're they're reflections of us. So when I'm experiencing resistance in another person, which I have and continue to, I'm what is working for me more and more is to look at what's that resistance in me. You know what I mean? Like, where am I being resistant in the process, or where am I being resistant or lacking some faith, in trusting the process and trusting myself. And that's been a very humbling thing as well, because man, I've experienced resistance with family members that's gone on for a long time, and I'm like, man, right. So I have been holding, I've been stopping up the waters, so to speak. I've been preventing the flow of everything for a long time, and so that, for me, it's I've been practicing looking at that resistance, trying to relate to it in a different way, because the way that I've personally been relating to it for a long time hadn't necessarily been working for me. I hadn't been getting the experience that I wanted or the result that I wanted. So it's been a process of saying, okay, I don't know it all, and I'm open to understanding and seeing this in a new way. And it hasn't been easy, but I think you mentioned it earlier that when you decide that it's worth it for you, then it's okay if it's not easy, because there's a lot to be gained in some of those challenges and some of that fire. Like, there's a lot of growth to be had in that, and so it becomes a thing that you can look forward to. It becomes a beautiful part of the process.
Absolutely, and that's the main thing is finding what you love. But I love how my passion is leadership. I think leadership is the number one most important skill that anyone could have. And I say skill because I truly believe that leadership can be taught.
Oh yeah.
There's that. Yeah. There's that argument people are not born leaders. Now I may get some heat for saying that, but some people may have, the needle move forward a little bit more in the process of becoming a good leader, but there's always room for growth in that area. And I think what you mentioning, the fact that being able to put yourself in that situation and try to create the most effective way to make that a positive experience for you and the individual you're interacting with, that, in my opinion, is the most important aspect of being a leader. Because when you're able to view the situation at a more broad scale and not looking at it in such a micro, finite, this person's here to attack me, you're able to move the needle forward. And that's in whether if it's in your business or your personal life with, in your relationships. That, in my mind, is if I was teaching a leadership 101 class, I would actually take exactly what you said and say, now this is the first step. And it's going to be hard. Oh my gosh, the ego is going to just rage. And it's going to tell you that this person's here to get you, but that's not the truth. The truth of the matter is we're here to contribute. We're here to bring value. And it's understanding those moments where you just need to be the bigger person in order to make this experience beneficial for the whole. That's leadership, in my opinion. At least one of the first steps in discovering it. Because if you can't lead anyone unless you're leading yourself. So that's why I always feel I've really put a big emphasis on my studies and everything for the past couple of years on personal leadership.
Yeah.
Because I viewed I've always viewed myself as a good leader who can, unite others under a common vision and inspire and motivate them to overcome and continue forward regardless of the circumstances. But I kind of felt like my life was out of control. And I really feel that's where things just didn't seem right. Things weren't adding up. And that's when I shifted, everything from external. And like what you mentioned earlier, I did a 180 and I went inward and realized that you have to be focused on personal leadership constantly if you really want to go out there and make a difference in the world, because it's the leaders who are making a difference. The leaders don't want to fall in line and just do what they're told without thinking it, without critically thinking it, or finding different ways to do it in a more creative manner, challenging those assumptions, creating the world that we all desire. It's the leaders that are doing that. But in order to be effective in doing so, we have to be focused on leading ourselves. Because, I'm a huge fan of stoicism. And if you're leading yourself, if we're leading ourselves, then I truly feel like we're controlling those aspects in life which are under our control. And once we're doing that, the outside world doesn't seem all that scary, and you're able to be yourself. You're able to bring the best out of others, and you're able to make some incredible connections. For example, like you and I today.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.